guys, Tom from Tom's Health and Fitness. Today we're going to give our answer on a question that most people seem to be asking when they're first starting out, and that is, what is the best way to lose fat? So before we even answer this question, it's important that you understand the process of losing body weight before you then think, well, what is the best way? So it is impossible to lose body fat without being in a calorie deficit. So in other words, what this means is, it doesn't matter how much exercise you do, what exercise you're doing, how long you're doing it for, if you're still putting more calories in than are going out. So there's two ways, with that information, there's two ways that we would answer this question. So there's the scientific way, and then there's the practical way, which is what all personal trainers should be delivering. So the scientific way is simple. The best or most time-efficient way of losing body fat is to do what creates the biggest calorie deficit in the shortest period of time. So what that means is basically cutting calories in your diet and performing vigorous activity that is going to burn the most calories in the shortest period of time. So that's going to be things like boxing, HIIT training, sprint intervals. Great, okay, cool, let's all do that. Right. So this moves on to the second part, or the second way in which we would answer this question, which is, if I told you you've got to do 100 burpees a day, that's the best way to lose body fat. There's maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 of you that might be willing to do that. So the first question is, what can you physically and mentally do, and what are you most likely to do? Because it doesn't matter what burns the most calories in the shortest period of time if you ain't going to do it. So the way that we approach this with our clients, and again, we believe hand on heart, this is the way that all personal trainers should be delivering it, is what's right for you. So, okay, yes, walking is going to take considerably longer to burn the same number of calories as sprinting, but if you're okay with walking and you enjoy walking and you're going to do it, that's probably a good place to start. Then obviously you need to be looking at your diet. So the diet for most people, I think, is where it goes wrong. So like we said at the beginning of the video, it really doesn't matter how many calories you're burning in your workouts if your calories in still exceed. In other words, you're in an excess, hence excess calories equal body fat. So diet is slightly harder, I think, because it's such a personal thing and it's very, very individual, and it's linked to a lot of different behavioral and emotional traits. So again, I think the philosophy still stands is looking at what is important to you, what could you find easier to get rid of or to cut down on, and what's maybe going to take a little bit more time. Ultimately, you don't have to calorie count every single calorie that you eat. That's no way to live, and again, that's quite extreme. If it's extreme, is it sustainable? Are you going to do it long term? And therefore, is it actually going to deliver you what you want? So the first thing I would do would be first just actually look at what could I get rid of, and a food diary would be a good place to start, even pen and paper, maybe cutting down on my portions, and maybe looking at substitutes and taking it from there, see how you respond. Anyway, it's kind of a brief answer, and we will build on this over time, but I hope you find it helpful.